Hi everybody. Just letting you know, you will need a calculator or some way of computing values of this function for this video to follow along. So, if you don't have that, pause this video, go get it. All right, I'm assuming you can follow along with a calculator now. We're going to find g prime of 2, the derivative of g at 2, otherwise known as the instantaneous rate of change of g at t equals 2. The technique we're going to use is finding average rates of change over smaller and smaller intervals. The notation we'll use is we're finding a change in g over a change in t. So this is just average rate of change using 2 points. For the first point, I'll use something close to 2. Let's try 2.01 minus 10 times 0.7 to the 2. I'm always going to be using 2 because I want to find the derivative at 2. And now I'm dividing by 2.01 minus 2. Okay, when I plugged this expression into my calculator, what I got for the numerator was this quantity. So if you're not getting this, try and figure out what you need to do differently with your calculator, talk with me, whatever it takes. But that's what I get when I'm doing the two subtractions. And that works out to be negative 1.7445941. So that's a pretty good estimate for the instantaneous rate of change. But we can do better. The way we can do better is by using a number even closer to 2. So let's do 10 to the 0.7, and let's use 2.001 minus 10.7 squared over 2.001 minus 2. And now I'm just going to give you the final answer for that calculation. Again, my hope is that this is something that you can do in your calculator, and if you're having problems, talk with me. Now I want you to note something. This is something the book doesn't emphasize, but I do. Note how these numbers are similar. They each start with a minus 1. Then in the 10th place we have a 7. Then in the 100th place we have a 4. I'm going to be interested in seeing calculations like this that you are doing where you are seeing numbers in common. I'm going to do this one more time just to emphasize that point. Note that this is not something the book necessarily emphasizes, but one that I do. Okay. We're going to try a number even closer. So we're going to try even more zeros. We're going to put 3 zeros up there. And note the important thing is we're using numbers that are getting closer and closer to 2. So that means we have these smaller intervals. This is a very small interval. And again, what I'm going to do is just write down the answer that I got. Minus 1.74768. And again, please note that we have the following things in common. Minus 1, 7, 4. Now even note that we have a 7 here and a 7 here. So we're starting to be really sure of all those decimal places up to the thousandths place. So that means that my guess for the instantaneous rate of change, what we call g prime of 2, is approximately equal to negative 1.747. Those are the decimal places I feel comfortable about. And we got that by taking average rates of change over smaller and smaller intervals. And that's how you find an instantaneous rate of change.